Hi everyone, my name is Shanna Hunt. I did my internship at Madison Memorial Hospital this semester, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about my experience and what I did. There we go. So the things that I'll specifically be talking about is how I found or arranged my internship. I did a round robin my first few weeks, and I'll talk a little bit more about what that looked like. My responsibilities that I had, how it benefited me personally throughout the internship, what I learned, especially as a family um, and marriage major, my course connections, and then if I recommend the internship. So, how I found my internship was I was actually looking at a list. The Marriage and Family Department has a very long list. I'm sure a lot of you are aware of it. And if you're not, then I would suggest asking for that list. But it has, I don't know, over 50 different departments, or it has businesses that do and take internship, marriage and family studies majors. And one of the ones that caught my eye was the hospital here located in Rexburg. One, because I'm intrigued by hospitals. I really like, I always thought I would work in one. And then I also was trying to decide for my master's program on whether if I wanted to be a clinical social worker, if I wanted to do marriage and family. And I was kind of hoping that I would be able to figure out which one I wanted to do through the internship. So how it kind of goes about it. So I applied, and then I got like a call back. I sent in my resume, and they said that I would be a good fit. They just needed to make sure. And so I did an interview with them. They take one marriage and family studies major per semester. So it was relatively competitive. I applied for it in June, and I got the internship for the winter 2023, sorry, because it was already filled for fall. So if you want the internship, just know that you're probably going to be looking at waiting a semester or two. And so make sure to look at that and look at what you want to do. So the round robin was my first 2 to 3 weeks of the internship. It was about 2.5 weeks that I did this. And what it is I went to each department in the whole hospital, and I met with like the head of it. It was actually a really cool experience. I met with med surge, quality, the mommy baby unit. I met with the chief nurse officer. Um, I've listed out a few departments that I specifically went to, and I think I'm definitely missing a few. I couldn't remember all of them, but I spent like probably 2 to 3 hours in each one, and doing different things and just seeing how the hospital works. So their main goal, and they were very upfront at the beginning, was they wanted me to know how a hospital worked and how each of the departments work together. And then they said that I could make the internship my own, and that I would, after doing the round robin and talking to the heads of each department, that I would find a department that I felt best fit my needs, and I'd make the internship my own. So it was a little scary because it's very it's on you to make sure you get your hours, to make sure that you are in the right place. But it was really awesome. It was great to be able to see all of the different departments and how they all work together. I also, side note, got to see a surgery. I got to see actually 7 different surgeries. I'll talk about that more, but it was really cool. So these are some of the departments that I saw. This is one of my favorite quotes. It's "Experience is the teacher of all things," and that was really what they taught at the hospital, was that you need to go in, you need to experience what is going on in a hospital to understand it. So, for move that a little bit, for my experience in the round robin, these are 3 experiences that I had that really stuck out to me that I thought I would share. One of them was what I was talking about. I got to see live surgery. I spent 2 days in the surgery room. I asked for a second day because it was super fascinating, super awesome. I don't know when else you would get a scrub in and go into the operation room and be able to stand right next to a surgeon and have him point to a spine and say, this is the L3 or L4 quadrant, and we're replacing the disc. Or it was really cool. I got to see an Achilles heel. They cut it open. They cut the guy's back of his like ankle. where the Achilles is, and they cut it open, and then they opened it up and they sewed it all together. Just crazy experiences. I list all the surgeries that I was able to see and be in the surgery room for. The other really cool experience that I had, so I worked most of my time in the mother baby unit, or the labor and delivery unit as well, just kind of like the family ward. I spent most of my internship hours. And one of the cool experiences about working in labor and delivery is that there's babies being born. So I got to see a childbirth, and you can't go directly into the room because I don't have any like credentials, or I'm not specifically interning with like a nurse. But I was able to be outside of the room with the door open, and I got to see the whole experience. And I mean, just having being able to see that sacred experience meant a lot to me. It was one of those moments that, that you remember why God is here, and how God plays a role in each of our lives. So it was really cool. It was a really cool experience. And then I got to work in the BHU. And if you don't know what that is, it's the behavioral health unit. It's where more extreme cases of mental illness go. So I got to spend the day following different social workers around, which is what I wanted, which was super awesome to be able to see everything that they did and what was on um, their role for the day. I spent time with the social workers in the emergency room, oncology, which is the cancer unit, and the BHU. Um, One of the most interesting facts that I learned was that 63% of the patients that came in for 2022 were college aged, so meaning 18 to 28, that needed help, which is honestly very sad. And most of them was suicide ideation. Some of the responsibilities that I had during my internship was I spent a lot of time with the quality department. So I went around and I tested people for N95 mask testing, which was not very exciting, but it was needed. And if you don't know what that is, it's just where they put the mask on and they spray a spray to see if you can smell it, to make sure that you can't smell or breathe anything in. It's to help doctors protect against germs and COVID and all of that. Another one of my major things that I helped with, it was the MBU brochures. So they had lots of loose papers. So I gathered all the resources the entire MBU had and made an easy access booklet from a QR code so they could just scan it. I also made it pretty because it had no color and no pictures. So I added pictures so people knew what they were talking about when they said a nipple shield or things like that. I also created QR codes for videos of how to do a specific procedure or technique. I found different community resources, so I called around and I, found who helps new mothers. And it was over 80 pages of information. This took, I would say, the majority of my internship hours was doing this project. The other thing that I was able to do is I was able to look through psych evaluations that social workers, or they call them MSTAR, but they're online social workers. So if someone comes in after social workers have left the hospital, then MSTAR, they'll call an online social worker. And that was super interesting. You can read what I did a little bit there. So my personal growth was I learned a lot about myself through this internship. I learned what I did and didn't like. I knew that I wanted to spend time with people in person, in the room talking with them. And I was honestly shocked how many people were contemplating suicide and felt so alone at BYU Idaho. And that's really just fueled my want to help people overcome the darkness and just help others. So my course connections was one large course connection I found was people who are in need of help. Just look to their family, and that's why systematic viewpoint is where my love and passion lies. That's what I learned, which is nice because I know I want to be a marriage and family therapist. The family unit really is bonding, and if people are struggling, it's important to reach out to those that are there and can help them. So would I recommend this internship? Yes and no. It was really powerful and life changing. I do not feel this internship aligned necessarily with marriage and family. I didn't feel like I got to spend a lot of time specifically with families in the systematic view that I wanted to. So it depends on what you're looking for, though. If you're looking for lots of experiences in a hospital, this is a perfect internship for you. And thank you so much for listening to this. Here's my information. If you have any questions about this internship, I would love to answer.